Hi guys. So Broner Kirstacharav. We're going that was 15 minutes, believe it or not. So we're going to move on. You can keep writing away there if you need to for a minute or two. We're going to ask you if you want to read out your poem, your 5-word challenge poem. Please type please type 5 words and your name into the chat box, and the first 35 readers will be up to read theirs. And then at the very end, please don't vote for your favourite poem until everyone has read, obviously. So it's yourselves that determine the winner. And when you want to choose your favourite poem, you simply type in winner and the person's name into the chat box, but that's after everyone has read, please, okay? And all the votes will be counted up, including those on the live stream as well. So anybody who is ready to read, brilliant, okay, fair play to you. It looks like first up is Brendan Mulcahy. Multisauce Levenish, Brendan. So if you're happy to read now, Brendan, I'll let you work away. So Brendan Mulcahy. Yeah, we're going to sort out. Paul has the controls there. No, or do I? Wait 1 second. So Brendan, 1 second there, Brendan. Can we unmute Brendan?
I am unmuted.
Brilliant.
Hooray.
Off you go, Brendan.
Thank you. One day I wrote her name upon the strand. The unrelenting waves did me upbraid, eroding what I'd written and half read in a deadly, dancing, cancelling cascade. The universal cockroach calls the shots. We sip, we sigh, we tie ourselves in knots.
Míle buíochas, Brendan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. And next up on the open mic is Doc. Will the sauce stay Levenish? Doc, you ready to read?
I am ready.
Brilliant.
It's a bit of doggerel, but a cascade of cockroaches poured onto the bayside strand. I was about to sip from my soda when a thread of them marched up my arm. I flung my drink away from my tongue, and I brushed them away as I ran from the bay. And the roaches in bands took over the land. My apologies. My fingers don't work quite right. For we humans were done with our day.
Lovely. Thank you, Doc. Míle buíochas. Next up on the 5-word challenge is Augustina. You're really market. The sound isn't great, Augustina.
Try again, 1 second. Can you come back to me after?
No problem, no problem. Thanks. So next up, we'll jump to Pam. Pam Mahotarig, you ready?
I'm ready. Okay.
Thank you.
Ode to President Trump. Brown, red-winged hellfire preacher, stealth no longer your game. Cascading wave after wave, your noisy cockroach army rattle and assault, thread into the marrow of our bones. Stranded are we in this burning, flooding. Honor, love, and hope slips away. It's depressing. Help us.
Thank you very much. It's beautiful, Pam. Beautifully depressing. Míle buíochas. Ada, are you ready? You're next up. Augustina, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go, and we can jump back to you, okay? Are you ready to go now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. We'll go with Augustina, so while the sound is working.
Augustina, then not. Okay.
Thanks, Ada.
By that point, a sip of wine was no longer enjoyable. Everything tasted bland as she found herself unemployable. Each strand of hair no more care, stringy like polyester thread, How much longer was she supposed to bear isolation and boredom? Stubborn as a cockroach, well, that's what they always called her, resilient. But 6 months of being 90% alone has humbled her, or more like crumbled her, rumbled her. She stumbles to the couch. A cascade of emotions that have no release whatsoever anymore. See how far she has strayed, laid there, legs spread wide and feeling inhuman, closer to an alien that does not belong in whatever this mess is. Rolls around her stomach that never existed, stinking of neglect and loss of self. Roaches is what she rolls. Tokes all day is the new routine. Tokes and sips of bland wine.
Thank you very much, Augustina. The sound wasn't great. I think an alien did kind of invade the poem and somehow, but it added a nice dimension to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you could type it in if you want. It's quite long, but that might give people a chance to hear every word. Mahat Sasta, if you're happy to do that. But Gurmila Mahakat, thanks very much. So Ada, are you ready to go?
I thought Pam was next. If I'm.
So Pam has gone, I'm pretty sure.
Gone. Oh, I missed that point.
Brilliant.
Okay. My poem is kind of short. It's about the subject of killing and the guilt. A thread across the room. Cockroaches baby boom. But I have the poison. Stranded by their doom, cascades of guilt loom as I sip alcohol. That's it.
Thank you, Ada. Mila Boikas. Next up on the list is Lauren O. Tarek, Lauren O, you ready to go?
Shaq or Mila Mahagut.
Can I read that?
Okay. So, success, another death, one less enemy. I wonder for a moment, will its mammy miss it? I take my gruesome oozing trophy and thread my needle through it. I need another sip of strength, the fire an old and only friend. I collect the strand of corpses and string it up and all around. A cascade of broken cockroaches falling in macabre flow. That'll send a message, those soulless bastards.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Mila Boikas. Agus an chéad an eile an list an Mr. Cullum Scully.
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes,
You can hear
Cullum.
me? Yeah. I would rather sip from the cup of uncertainty than be stranded on the thread of conservatism. Rather a cockroach gliding ugly but free away from the murderous feet of some stomping human than a spider imprisoned within the confines of its cascading web, whose world that seems to him so secure can be brushed aside in one careless swoosh of a housemaid's duster.
Thanks, Cullum. Go real about it. An chéad an eile an list an Moira Stevens. What you wrote, Moira?
Thank you. Okay, here we go. A thread of gold breaks silver skein. A beam of sun hides glint of moon. Taste gentle waves, sip salt tears of years past. Watch from the strand, guard the land. And then the hordes, cockroach crowds cascade from metal beasts, assault the strand, shout and yell and laugh and scream and splash and play, shatter the dream, keep me at bay. And I no longer feel, no longer heal. Peace is gone until grey curtain draws and dusk calls them home. And then I stand and watch and stand alone and stand and dream in its silver skein of soft moonbeam, for I am home. On my the strand is mine.
Thank you, Moira. Really about it. Max Creedon, with the Austin Donna Levenish. Mom Van. You failing to a question. We can't hear you, Max. Turn on your mic there, Max.
Tá tacht. Okay. Hi. Stranded in a cascade of bulletins, trying to ignore the repetitive, interminable tune of what not to do and who not to see, of verboten sessions, of planned skirmishes that cannot be. Sip the tea and get used to it. Wet bars are barred. There will be no Healy, Rays or Bulla. They're not happy with it. That precious golden thread of communication, the banter, can't be snipped. But the delicacy of human touch is now cling-wrapped. Creebrishta gan me fáiste, away in foreign parts. Cyber hugs are virtually all that's left to my old squidgy soft heart. That old cockroach doesn't give a continental. They'll survive. They'll scurry about their business. Sure, they're still a buzz in the old beehive. Tá glúndar insna ruddy shimply. The blahana il dahanacha na hanva. Insna realty sealshach is an gringal is an shiakan san solashiri. Gwimi boikas doesn't kill. It's an kill. When it's tashpe asna danta. Toga boge machri. Na be gallivanting. Be kurmach is na be dana. Okay? Shinaway.
Really Wake's Max. And thanks for the trouble of typing out your poem. I look forward to reading that there in a minute. Really Wake's, thank you. I believe Julie Breathnach-Banwait, have you joined us?
Yes, hello.
Photo welcome. So we're just in the middle of the 5-word challenge.
Pardon?
So we're just in the middle of, we're doing the 5-word challenge at the moment. So I'll jump on to you in a while so you have a bit of time to soak it all up.
Okay.
But photo
Grandma.
And Kieran Eller listing of Phillips Plan.
Everyone, am I coming through clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't trust my internet, so I hope it comes through well. A cockroach, a spider, and a praying mantis set up a queue of dominoes to watch them cascade across my bed, ending between my knees. It keeps me up at night. The arachnic hands out from the ceiling on a strand of thread, directing the two about like odd chess pieces. The cockroach scampers back and forward. The praying mantis tai chis elegantly in contrast. I sip another glass of something, and the insects flicker like an aurora till they explode into clarity. My mind buzzes in fatigue, like a spiral of collapsing dominoes or crazy insects. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil, for Robert. And next person up is Sue Blue.
Hi, thanks very much. Autumn breeze. A silver thread of silk blows ballooning spiders through the evening air, a mild breeze wallowing. I sit beside my fire, sipping summer's cider as sunrise cascades between clouds and twilight. The sounds of lapping waves nearby scurries on the cockroaches seeking shelter in my camp and stranding on the warm rocks around my fire. Then, to save me, like superheroes, the spiders balloon down on cascading threads of light, and the roaches on the rocks are doomed.
Thank you, Sue. Lovely. So next up is Amy. What's your rig, Amy? You ready?
Hi, yeah, thank you. I hope you hear me okay.
Perfect, yeah.
I was about to take a sip from my can when it happened. A shift, a glitch, everything changed. Suddenly, every sandcorn reminded me of cockroaches. With every blink, they came crawling up the strand, closer and so close now. A cascade of creatures as fast as the wind. One had already reached the edges of my towel, inspecting the threads of my world that wasn't safe anymore. The moment their long, silent legs had touched my skin, I woke. I can't stand cockroaches. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Next up is Cedric. Thanks.
Do you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Over and out.
Good. Natural phenomenon. The concept exists outside the context, ideas not yet formed, actions to be realized waiting for pretext, interpretations of visions soon deformed. It's all natural, the order of the universe. The thread joined in two strands, sips in too many drinks. Interpretation amiss, we misunderstand how a mere evolutionary incident leads to extinction spring, where cockroaches and spiders alike crawl to safety to no avail, making way. Unable to collaborate, they fight. But despite the mutual destruction, show that natural selection doesn't fail.
Thank you, Cedric. Next up on the open mic is Catherine Ronan.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Catherine.
I called this poem At Last. Between strand and loch lies the bog, where cockroach crawls over the last thread of night, scurries for shelter as witches take the last sip of slow gin under the magical hawthorn. Spirits and spells cascade at dawn. I find you at last, dear wit, a rá machri.
Wow. So I don't see any more names on the 5-word challenge list there. Is there anyone else who wants to read, who wants to throw their name in? Okay, so if we're ready to move on, so I hope you've all kept a name of the poem you like best. So if you wouldn't mind typing the word winner plus the name of the poet whose poem you preferred best, and that way we'll count up the votes and get the winner. So off you go. And I really
make the best. You.
While you're counting, I just want to say that y'all have inspired me to add a hopeful stanza that I will work on with spiders, casting those resilient webs that once broken, they're stronger when they're remade. So I'll be working on this poem. I cannot leave in this depression.
Spider hope for all of us. Thank you. This is like the Eurovision.
Brendan. I'm here. Huh? Yeah. Poetry.
So is that all the votes, guys? Has everyone got their vote in? Yeah, looks like it. So give us a moment there, and Paul is doing his work. And if that's all the votes, big congratulations to tonight's 5-word challenge winner, Augustina. Congratulations. Well deserved. And we now have the pleasure of hearing your poem again, Augustina, if you wouldn't mind reading it again. And the aliens might help you with your performance again. Let's find out.
I really don't know what's going on with my internet today, but let's open up the account. Okay. By that point, a sip of wine was no longer enjoyable. Everything tasted bland as she found herself unemployable. Each strand of hair, no more care, stringy like polyester thread. How much longer was she supposed to bear isolation and boredom? Stubborn as a cockroach, well, that's what people always called her, resilient, but 6 months of being 90% alone has humbled her, or more like crumbled her, rumbled her, she stumbled to the couch. A cascade of emotions that have no release whatsoever anymore. See how far she has strayed? Laid there, legs spread wide and feeling inhuman, closer to an alien that does not belong in whatever this mess is. Rolls around her stomach that never existed, stinking of neglect and loss of self. Roaches is what she rolls. Tokes all day is the new routine. Tokes and sips of bland wine.
Thank you, Augustina. Well done. So there will be 2 books on their way to you, and you can choose a drink from your fridge of your choice. Hopefully we get to buy you a drink in O'Vale sometime. You never know. Okay, so we're going to move on with the next part of the evening, so just bear with me. I'm going to read some announcements. So there will be a free PDF of 5 Words Volume 13 is now available online, so you can go to the O'Vale website. And the 5 Words International Poetry Competition continues. The first prize is €750 plus a beautiful glass award. The second prize is €500 and third is €250 plus publication and invitations to read at O'Vale in April 2021. So all you have to do is send your poems in to www.ovale.ie/5wordscomp/. Again, all this information is on our website. So the 5 words for starting from tomorrow for next week, you get a head start. The 5 words are guest, lair, autumn, curve, and crumble. That's guest, lair, autumn, curve, and crumble. There's also an audio archive of O'Vale on the website, which is a fabulous feature. You can listen back. This event is being recorded and will be available to view on the Facebook page from this point on of the evening. So readings will be recorded for a podcast. If you prefer to be excluded and you plan on going on the open mic, please type no MP3 and your name, and you will be taken out of that. And just something else, O'Vale aims to maintain like a safe space for writers and the general public attendees. So while the private chat mode is available for all participants to use during the event, we ask that you please be respectful when communicating and to report any online abuse immediately to O'Vale, either through the private chat or to info@ovale.ie. Thank you. This Friday, 18th September, it's a fabulous event throughout the island of Ireland, Culture Night. And a special edition of O'Vale for Culture Night is featuring Chandrika Narayanan Mohan and also our All-Ireland Slam champion Shauna Lee Lynch. They will be doing a special reading for Culture Nights. That'll be guaranteed a fantastic reading. Also, PayPal donations, any amount of money can be made via our website contact page, ovale.ie, and usually appreciated. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest poets. First up will be Julie Breathnach-Banwait, and then we'll have Nuala Dhomhnaill. So I'm just going to give a brief biog of both poets quickly. And Julie will be reading first, so just bear with me, and I'm going to read some of your biog. So is Fila Shikoli agus Mohari Julie Breathnach-Banwait, Toffwil Sudainta Kishgame, Era Lower Dawn to Poke, Canoe Suffolk Monchon Lloyder, Rinna on Tirish Lower, the Irish Scene, Fulshicon, the Real Therica Dawn Dhomhnaill, and Astral here, Uiga Dawn, Kota Gorum Douche, the Vela Filiach, the Calipui, the Govilas and Najug, So Julie Breathnach-Banwait is a poet, psychologist, and mother. Her first collection, Dawn to Poker, was published by Cush Game, and the magazine The Irish Scene in Australia has regularly published her poems in Irish. Her poem Blue Coat won a prize at the Colloquy Festival Poetry Competition last year. Julie is joining us from Australia this evening. Julie. You're a new poet on my radar, so I'm looking forward to getting to hear your work and getting your book. So I'll just give you a brief biog of Nuala ní Dhomhnaill. I'll try and make it brief, Nuala, because with all of your fantastic achievements, is Banlech I Nuala ní Dhomhnaill in Éireann, Bheal na Éireann. Nuala ní Dhomhnaill grew up in the Irish-speaking areas of West Kerry and Tipperary, and studied English and Irish at UCC, and became a part of a group of Irish language poets who were published in the literary magazine Inti, beautiful magazine. Nuala has numerous collections of poems in Dalg Drain, Fair Sunshach, Fesh. The Gallery Press has published her 5 most recent collections with translations into English. Nuala's work has been translated into several languages: French, German, Polish, Italian, Norwegian, Estonian, Turkish, Japanese, and English. It's going to be an honour to hear you tonight, Nuala. Fáilte romh an Vertigwith, agus we're going to ask Julie to do your first reading, please. Míle buíochas, Julie, agus go maith riile.
Okay, Gurmagri. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Diriv, agus Gurmile Mahagi as a Currahurtscum and you, Sacht agus Macadonta or Reemslip, or Ear in the Hastrala, the Shepard and the Wadden, Mochten Shaw. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share some of my poetry with you today. It's early morning here in Western Australia, and I'm up really, really early. As this is a bilingual event, I'll just switch between languages as I need to, if that's okay. Shai Malar, Dawn to Poker, the she file she Kush Mlena, Agus the she lefos Shapalar, and Carupoli, Agus Erlina o books.ie. So she the Yanis me nacht, na Dianama Macadonta eleven Noelge Edasach. Agus an Yishin Dinama Astrachan Merla Oro of Captain Beder Nientoshe, which had Akar Philip Dastro or Hangawan Gatsagale. So this is my book, Don't Poker. Tonight I will read a few poems from the book and I'll translate into English afterwards. So I'll read them in Irish first, if that's okay. Okay, so Tosnai Melishin gave Jan, I'll start with the first one. Antanaphin Shana Puka, Agus is Shantamata on, na Canal Commerce Edir Dini, Agus Dini Napola Geistach Lana Helis. So the theme in this poem is about interaction and particularly and communication where it's not working very well. So when one person perhaps is talking at rather than talking to someone. So Rodeg and Russian, I'm sure we've all experienced that kind of interaction at some point. Okay, so Shahan down again. I guess in Shindema there. Puka. He, she's. Gan súla mar reo, bauta cainte, leathnú Bheal agus súl, clúas a hiúr a forins, scéal le músculs, alles le cordí, sescéal le scape, an corp le fóru, anál le tarns, funineh le dó, spirit le cancer, malacht le muilo, an nimh le caí, mar bhelchan gansaí ola, lágréine. So rank is come a lohog me fridera, ta fear all or nija is an wiltas geschinsach. While she a tanga, ravely fos larins. Tan stoche comfortig, I could cuss a corrama, or dine clearva. Osna from Srievna, loch fechana ik varen. Lúscan si a corpus brúcht an bauta eile. Amarca imirce tan síl fána. Ai te gan a ríist, as éan de chanant. Fléisc si amach, lásará hana, a súla trí hinne. Os a cód an taibse, gan clós na súla, fiú crathe an plugin, tá a scéal sa fós ciún, gan síime marhearcha, is ma chlós a sosdúnta, gan trócada gan aspa. An taibse se fós in na sí in a héanaar, fórsci a gazrih is gan ceachtar géistecht. And Donald Gaelige, that's my Irish version. And I'll just translate it now for you. Kuka, I suppose, translates as ghost. She sat down without an eye on me, a bout of speaking, a widening of the eye and the mouth, an ear that would give relief, a story to muster, sweat to be released, a gospel to spread, the body needing cooling, a breath inhaled, energy to burn, a spirit to discipline, a curse to release, poison to be spent, like the weight of a woolly jumper on a sunny day. In France, they don't care, I've noticed. We're lucky here with our government so generous. She delayed her tongue. Ramblings were yet to be shared, but the stage is comfortable. Her feet are equal and together. Her chest rises, a sorrowful sigh. The audience watch, and another bout belches. Too much immigration, the world is lost. Let's have tea again. From Ireland, that's your accent, right? She burst out, a surge of lightning. Her eyes were on fire, but before her a ghost without eyes or ears, or the nodding even of a head. My story is silent. No interest in what I have to say. My ears are closed, without mercy or absence. This ghost is still sitting alone, locked in an interaction with neither listening. That's my long hookah. That's the first one I wanted to do for you. The next one I want to do for you is Kota Garam. And Kota Garam is a very short little poem, Don Bagyarisha. Don stohi fi chaliunt, no Don fi Norita dine emi witzer a bra more lords red condinisha. August Conas a an and Denishan that go do few one nurtured imi. So it's a poem about the people we love and lose and how they stay with us through the senses somehow, through sight or through smells or just seeing something somewhere that reminds you of them, and for a split second they're kind of back there with you. Okay, so this is the poem Kota Garam. Glachan mahul ski Kota Garam, knapi mine shidula, a bheith comportach ag de vera laga. Sná róga hanach, graman a lehan farsin gofrishe, róg dégach ag dawark, ach go gwinim go to score blian imihe. Okay, and the English version of that. My eye rests on a little blue coat, smooth, silky buttons that would be comfortable for your weak fingers. Its thread too bright, generous wide stitching, breaking it up, but too gaudy for your sight. But I recall that you are 20 years gone. That's my second one, Shandarakan. And see you can while Marines live non-can sha arvanim Antanaphin. Engelga Dina Antanaphin Kershis Rudder Bay, Etanan who Wartu, so Dieter Shavan Rene, no Rodegin, August Dina Doncher Kershis, Canal Kaiser Eta, nor taught to Fechens or any Kintex Tashit, a Wastu, a Geyser, Rudikins, Nachwil Gamagod, Oxnapul to Nachwil Kuchter Behagot Lehe and Ruchna Aru. Agus go to mar bhreanúir ar an tláis os the chóir. So this is a poem called Antanaphin, which roughly translates to the harm. It's to do with observing or noticing that someone you love might be involved in something that's very destructive, and that you have little power to change or little influence to control that, and what it's like to be an observer. So I use the analogy of Antanaphin, the harm, as being a thing that can destroy, and how it moves from person to person when it's finished with the person it's finished with, if that makes sense. Okay, Antanaphin. Nor a bhí an síl cúni, a páistí tóca, is sí slánsúil, aclaí, stretra. Ré lena síl a rinsarin, thug Antanaphin cuairt, istá, as raimsí sé a crí. Is thug sé nead, cún, cipíní crua in a closa, is hí go brúdúil go dtír nar chola sé, ná nar waca sé slí a sábhála. Hín mud in a tro a gut láb a crachicha. Jóri mud in cosan amach. Ach ní réidir in a closar rahent leis an bacall a bhí tóci aige. Le spalí bag a géra is carníle. Ad ágaí bard an íranin is a chur másc cluiche fan the crí. Dás sé an sin an níomhig scara is ag slidir nach trí na corp, gus í nar chid si a chud bríthir, ná chud smuintí féin. Or cheap sí nar bhiú focail a chur lo. Rinne an tainslí is sodar in our mask is thug sí bías decho. Chóirí sí leaba an rígo, réití sí fésta a chealúra. Ar mullag ucrach, ar bíb an stiúca, ag fada an sclis is an slacht. An lá úd táis sa gíbde, chuilí am cahan crí. Who an Tanachan an biochan as a corpus lodgy a cholin blame, or rates a chain dan dar about it. All lurg shoot at all law is lochale. Okay, and roughly translated to Antanaphin, the harm. When her life had quietened, her children reared, with her healthy, fit and vigorous, ready to share her life with us, harm made a visit inside and danced on her heart, and built a tight nest of hard sticks in her ears and sat brutally until she could not hear nor see the route to her salvation. We stretched our trembling hands towards her, directed the path out, but we couldn't reach her eyes with the packing that was built with sharp little gallets and manure that left her deaf to truth and put a stone mask on her heart. It grew there, the poison spreading and sliding through her body until she did not believe her own words or thoughts and thought they were not worth expressing. The Antichrist trotted amongst us and she offered him food and drink, dressed the king's bed for him, prepared a feast to celebrate him, our bellies hungry and our throats parching, watching the destruction and the slaying. The damp day in winter, the battle thinned the heart. The harm sucked the life from her body and strengthened its own, preparing itself for the next bout, seeking those who are kind and vulnerable. That's my third poem. Okay. In chéad cheanna a bhhailm le bhuimh ná Scanra Lart. So sin téime is dóitá an agus barla mar bhealach go mainach daoine go mína chuin héin an na dáanta ach siad a bhí intas na bhí mar scríb. Nuair atá rud a cínte ar aon sin agus bhfuil tú géire láirtach agus go gurn se feitart agus an méid cuachta an tú nó a dhéarans tú go dtíach gur taiste de chruí. So this is a poem about being afraid to speak. So when you've got something that's really meaningful to you that you want to share, but that you're finding it difficult to share it, and how powerful it can feel afterwards once you've sort of released it. It's a very short little poem. Scanra Lards. Okay. Búdach san intin, ach nar hánig amach, ach sisco lag chálach, nor a dog na focal na viola, ach gur a blas millish na mala fócaí im a bhéal, agus cúcht bag fásta I mocht, nor a scuil me wimiad. Okay. A fear of speaking. Thank you, Gurmagga. A bellowing mind, but all that came out was a faint, weak whisper when the words left my lips. But the sweet taste of honey lingered, and a tiny power grew in my chest as I released them. Okay, Maggie. Ceann eile a bhfuil a léamh inniuh ná Mara Anya. Is don é seo faoi nar a larm na go leor daoine déireann siad gur a sort of bringródaí nar sort smaointe acu ceann faoi ar bhhailú a gláán a bheith dearmid agus beidir nach neibíonn sé amach uaireanta agus beidir gur siad ag súla rudí difriúil ina saoil. Agus is cinál dána seo faoi bhringlóid faoi cailín dar bhain in Mara Anya. Is sort bringlóid a déta mar hampla bheith máthair. So this is a poem about, I suppose, perceptions that we might have about the structure of our families and ideas we might have or dreams we might have that don't quite go according to plan. So it's about that. Okay. Mara Anya. Bach solas an tíl de húl, ag thnú le bre de chluine hain, méle de hív ag feire an torse, ag tuiscin dimini, ag chuirt stróir le de cheistena, ag teis gach caiscin, ag cóirliú nar a hagahart, ceann catach dorcha, crackan mín cotam, compórst a drachar le cuasaí an tí le bhagart is a réiteach, ach ná rugúdí a bhú. Okay, Mara Anya. The light of life would be in your eye, longing for the birth of your own family. I'd be at your side, watching from the threshold, understanding your worries, directing your questions, measuring each step, offering counsel when you were stuck, dark and curly haired with smooth, soft skin, a comfort for your brother to solve and to diminish the courses of life, but that you were never born. Okay, Mara Anya. Nish, and can in chéad ceann eile a bhhail im a léamhid ná dúshlán aitheantais. Seo, no, Eshet Oignis. Come on, Eshka. Yeah, dúshlán aitheantais, come on, Eshka. So this is a poem about identity and what it feels, what displacement kind of feels like when you're sort of pulled away from things that you know are familiar and you're put somewhere else and kind of expected, off you go, carry on. But your roots don't kind of, they don't sit well in the soil, if that makes sense. So is Donna Fishin. Okay, Dozon Ahantish. Seal is skirra, further mawagert ach málig tastal. Slash na Europa ag sní am a cholin. Ahantas no cafiag ag ansi ma corpus mainsin. Gan me an seo, gan me a chew and chewed. A chavastos na scamma glasio, gan ma chosa ag shrahins an tala. Okay. Identity crisis. The world is slipping. A hurry threatens me, yet slow in its movement. Slivers of Europe being carved from my body. A new stranger's identity attacks me. I am not here, I am not there, but stuck in these clouds, with my feet hardly touching the ground. Okay. Agus Sinead Mafadanta ta an this book you can find online, books.ie. That's my contribution, and I hope you enjoyed it. Goramila Mahagi.
Mila Boykas, Julie. And this Masson Gulshis Alerga when Gachtan is Sulta Shin, Mila Boykas. I was fair play that us, I recall Lewis in House Rastroil. Yeah. Thanks for getting up so early and joining us from Australia.
You're welcome, it's my pleasure.
Agus bíag lá das a gota as seomach. So without further ado, I will welcome Nuala ní Dhomhnaill con a good say her leave doing. No hat the reg let the hon. Fáilte rod.
William McClough.
Éidirling, níl tú ró bhlach an níor na ró? Aber rud éigean dile?
Oh, well, hand out cheek.
Yeah, dénig sin.
Yeah, well, Tama Anna Hofster, father of Patrick and Srutza, maar, queen niet share, which, well, and Angus, Maragal, Louise, wie Anna Kruig, dan dollar me Kruig, hier Squirta, I guess, these come cut of in the thing and raw, of nation ground, of near Breviscum, cut the hill, where Hampa could far Kestrum and Kelesta. I guess there's Islam Hain. I guess Nurhinim are Dean of her father win, I guess, on Australia here. I guess girl in the car. That's a duck sexy. That's a duck sexy. I guess when she fish of her beyond them. So, well, you know, while I'm making around my other and the grand son of the shoe, I guess called Puerto, I guess a time. And kid Don a lay has a need again a Strucon. There's no translation on for this poem because it's new and I haven't pulled the arms of anyone yet to squeeze a translation out of them. But it's about knowing one's place in the world and about how, you know, according to one's likes, they can be quite ordinary, and yet to another people quite extraordinary. So she thought shulum na scale she na a whole let this live let only a yaller and more only humbled. I guess we she America has I guess we she foot into here. I guess we she can dine our coup staffen in the green. I guess Harla and Rotsado. Dala Alistair humbled and more Oli Tá duine béna anna lúberden. Bhíidir I lár I gceart lár meirithe has. Bhí fearóg tris an nád a thuirtear. Bhí sé deabhéasach agus tuiscinach, agus iad siúd ag cabhrúla lena chud uirlisí a chur ar bun. Bheas sé iad a thógann isteach ina bhostíocht. Ach buineadh siúrtha ar aonis sé dóibh bhí na rowan ó cócaireachta ar í aige. Bhíne sé, cé go raibh fiol an bhaimman monkey níos daí. Go bhfuil sé fós annach ó súl ó heb blasta le fiol an duine. Herrig sé an áisnéis freisin gur bheith crí na lá an chuid a bar don dá chás. Cé go raibh uafás ar, bheithin humble féin fós gur thug sé ceart cultúra féin an gúis. Ní raibh ciall ar bith brian leis an bhearóg. Deacha sé cosú le bheith mar Brahman ón Ganges a taistil san órap a cáisiú linn gur ihimar fiol anmhithe. Níor thugad a lo an bhearóg. Mar nadidir iscada nar a bheitá in raim cruig beidir ní bheitchas cad a hárlásta. Agus so snéan gan stianaí scrís agus ó heh dan eile. Tá mór an mar chumas an so go bhíoh an iad a strú. Déanana ceann Dan Lewis athe lebahéada. Is Dan gráid agus go bríns another an fearnú benahí a gceisnú ach tá gom go raibh ar an mád pastoralaíochta a teacht ó corchaig ar slí bhile agus go raibh an fearóg ann agus go ná tógan ceann de fearóg ach tháinig sé suas a caintlim agus dúirtas, oh, go away, I'm writing a poem. Agus négéire. So mar sin déanana an teiste an mír le dúis. Is le Elaine ní Cuineáin an teiste. Lebahéada. I'd fix a bed for you in Lebahéada in the high grass under the wrestling trees, and your skin would be silk upon silk in the darkness, the hour when the moths are settling down. Skins that flows shining over your limbs like milk poured from jugs at noontime. A herd of goats passing over the hills in your hair, hills with high cliffs and two deep valleys. And your soft lips would be sweetest sugar as we roved in the evening beside the river, between the perfume breezes flowing across the Shannon and the fuchsias saluting you one after one another. The fuchsias dipping down their crowned heads, bowing down to the beauty before them, and I'd pick a pair of them to hang like earrings, to deck your ears like deck your ears as a bride. Oh, I'd make a bed for you in Lebahéada as the day grows calmer at long last, and we'd have great pleasure limb against limb, our own wrestling at the hour when the moths are settling low. Lebahéada. The choro in Lebagat I Lebahéada, severe ord scoil na ground. Isteach de crucanán mar chéada ar chéada, sa deireachach an lonithe na lán. Crucan na díon go cléine chuir de dhéaga, mar bhaine á gáil as chrúscíní an loin. Is siad gabhar a gháil tarchnacháin de chud chuige, nacháin ar a bhfuil feilte áde is gá leann tá dain. Is deocht a bheol a taise ar bhíisteach siúpte tánána sin is spaisteoireach go seán. Is na gaithe meile séidir haran sena is na fiúsí a banúgad ceann ar cheann. Na fiúsí a gí slú a gana muirge a gúlú síos den áilecht as a góir. Is a bheocin peire acu mar thugalíní, is de bhaisiáin do fuasa mar bhídó. Ó chóráin lebagat I leba hiadar, na hauscan an lei in a haul, is do bhór an pléisiú bhuain le giaga ar giaga. Ag an mar scoil, an bhainithe, leann. Ceannas ru a thófá féin ara mar a bhín dáanta as fríide go ná chódeachar agus atá sé asisiúchan maithar ar rud. Tá mar chrí biste gom a dhéar asisiúchan má bhhairte bhuaine. Agus chuna gcearta éana thuirteamh bíonn siad an a bheith. Ach mar sin héin, tá sé anna dheachar fós an taistúchan bháile a bháilte. Tá ceanna le go manis. Come out Jeffrey and Martin and Sloan and Nuair a bhíonn rud caiite agat mar hampla teanga, ní lis agat chattá fág agat. Agus bhíonn daoine tuairteach don margheall, mar uaireanta bhím árá agus ní higann siad an airme. So sa deire dúirt go scéithin sortánar agus mar se hála se. An bhrúch agus focail ná luigh an focail isce le, ná éon ní a bhaineann le cuasa farige. Tán, tíide, bócna, muir, ná sáile. Ní lú le an seachsáirigh ná tráchtach was ar íosfach báid saoine trán tramile fatí gilmach. Tá sa ggéil go mar go bhfuil le héadrí ann as go mbíonn gítáin éigean a bhuineastar ar siú a bhíon eile. Ceapan sí mar bhúnann sí a chuasas mar chasanna ceann go meisi séireara. Is ná cloise sí búr an eich isce a frógad gríil siúí le a dain snaithe. A chur gráiníní ar a gricin is brat alais amach sí lára coldade. Ní léon náid eilige ach an saoil fóthaín a cleachte sa ar únta sí ar a headsail ar mintí chuir grínice. Seanan sí óbhain breh irid is cach go do bhainteché leis éanam. Ir bhean tíim riamh go snappa seogasan ná éon sort san aimseachta. Ólas solas blan na hóléirta a sé háantaísa. Ba cumlum, a go bhfuir amach san éige. Is jigs rein le Bheal is sa láthsríomhne an lán de bhailúcháin le scoil spríte imisce le clippe de scíán rá ar scothóg feminine mar fár. Tá trí chin diaag de scéalta fad agus matíocha de cíile I deanta le thórthaí seanna fadidir fa tóisne agus riile le tuairt féin arán. An na hathair is an na máthir cíine is mó a thóg sí síosa. Dúiltain síl glanda. An máisir thug mar obair baile gcóna fadó hir sa bhilscoil. Amar dhéanamh, ní raon dá lasagain. Báthach sí fuil thrón, tar méach sí riamh a bhálach na chiúnsna. As mar sin tá sé le go is an daine chuidem do hán héin agus chum le dia díal má ha bhilna agus na chuidéalacha agus is mór le go mór go bhfuil bhéalna. So, stachar rá, tuchas fearr. seo cuinéile ar rud éigen atá ann agus náfuil is go te ann. This is another sort of a translation or an effort to put something there and you're not sure what it is. Agus nuair a chaileann duine teanga nuair a bheith mar sin, tá sé mar sin. Tá go bhfuil rud éigean annach níl is go cabbé. Agus cuioníos ar sin lá gras a chur peann le papéir. Agus chuirme déaname an taistriúáin le Paul Muldoon thuirtí verdúis agus santarmen bundandí. A recovered memory of water. Sometimes when the mermaid's daughter is in the bathroom, cleaning her teeth with a thick brush and baking soda, she has a sense this room is filling up with water. It starts at her feet and ankles and slides further and further over her thighs and hips and waist. In no time, it's up to the oxters. She bends down into it, picking up hand towels and washcloths and all such things as are sodden with it. They all look like seaweed, like those long strands of kelp that used to be called mermaid hair or foxtail. Just as suddenly the water recedes and in no time the room's completely dry again. A terrible sense of stress is part and parcel of these emotions, and at the end of the day, nothing else she has to compare it to. She doesn't have the vocabulary for it, or at her weekly therapy session, she has more than enough to be going on just to try to explain this strange phenomenon and to express it properly to the psychiatrist. She doesn't have the terminology or any points of reference or any word that might give the slightest suggestion as to what water might be. A transparent liquid, she says, going on as best as she can. Right, says the therapist, keep going. He coaxes and cajoles her towards word making. She has another run at it. A thin flow, she calls it, casting about gingerly in the midst of words. A shining stuff, dripping, shining film, dripping stuff, something wet. Well, nuair a bhíonn tú ar isce, Colin rud isce, is bhásach an taistriúcháin a shining film, dripping stuff, something wet, a thuirtear, agus, focail isce ann. So mar seo a héann sé sa bhain rud. Cuine an isce. Uaireanta nuair a bhíonn a hinaín sa seomra folca a glanna a fiacla le sléad sibh nó le sód báchála, tigtar de go líonann an seomra suas le huisce. Tás naon sé ag go cosa is a rútíní, is bíonn sé slibreá suas a rééis ar másaí is a cromáin is fásta. Ní fada go mbeadh sé suas go dtí na hoscadíire. Cuireann sí síos ann go minic ag tugadh suas rudaí mar hamháilí lámha nó curteacha atá ar muas ann. Tá cumann na tanaíire. Na scothó go fada celpa úd a dogad is gruaig bhaid an bhara nó arabal bhadarío ortha. An son go choban tean an tuisce iníis agus ní fada go mbeadh an seomra omlán sin réist. Tás tros u bhásach a roinnt leis na mócháin se. Tris an tail, níl rud ar bith chun comparáid í an bhlis. Is níl na focail ceart rólas ar chur bith. Ag an sesiún psychotherapist seachtanúil, bhí na dóin dúice ag gíire an scéal eisteasa a bhíú is a chuir inúla gart an bheardachtar. Níl aon tearmíochtaice ná tearmí tagartha, ná focail ar bith a thuaireadh an tuairim is lú nó cad é isce. Lacht dréire I dearfach a deirsi a déanamh a críondíthe. Se a dearan an tarbí. Cinna bhairt? Bíonn sé á molla is á ngéasa don bíomh tangan. Dinann sí ar a chuile. Sléad tanaí a thugann sí ar. I a tóireach go cuairmach an meas na bhocail. Brath gléine, áir siúlta, rud flu. So sin mar bhíon bíon tú a pléile rud atá go a bheith fear. I mean, that's get selgar an tango a consequent nule de gwine nach go he. Nebit sto go bheith go an le verlicht dhéanamh sa denske go bheith tósa téisceile. Sure, dá eile dá benim closúr mar well, you know, Dina Imian is not tagan na ríist agus drochurim a bhíanacht mar closure. And then one day the god departed. He rose up with the dawning of the day, took his razor, his toothbrush, and his overnight case, and did a runner. People outside Callahan's pub in Dingle on Saturday afternoon saw him heading east, a pack on his back. I heard him passing too, though as if in a dream, a voice singing and scattering of notes and whistles, like the sound of oboes within the stage. 'Tis the god Hercules, whom Antony loved, now leaves him. Now I am empty, and the space within me. I can't tell what might fill it or how. If I might follow him on this perilous byway, dishevelled, with shoes untied, for the length and breadth of Ireland, I can't walk over. Is a léní cuileánaí in an taisiúán agus is stolim bhfuil se go hála mar eiste. Closúr. Is an san lá de bhaile níos leis. Dairig a madan le fáin lately. Rugar a rásúr a scob Bheal is a travelling bag is hostas na bunabeh. Bhí daoine lasmod a hiag Callahan's dangan strán an the saurig. Ach na cé a gháil sir is pacha around. Bhuail is a leis mar a bheith a dairih, a gháil tabráid. A scoil aráin is fort gadaid lige, mar a bheith óbóna de híslan stáitse. Shendia Hercules a Greg Anthony, atá a hágant. Inis tam follow, is an paus an lár. Is never célína ige na cat leis. Dá mála me leanúnt in sa móirí nachnarfa. Ach ó, is stad a farsin I éire, is stad ialacha na bróga an smain. Na the céimiid amatá gom cúpla ceanna le rá. Will
Táfuile chum fós.
Well, déanam a cúpla ceanna le well, an cean go éana mar ránsa na ceist na teangan agus is nó is the bhéh an rud céanna fósa an callún teangan agus an sása a fuair is an nuamh a géiste leis an gaailhan ó Can't not here in Australia, right? Cover the nation. Well, bad one pescilla. I wish I harbor fad. So sure I am on the language issue left in pastures on the Palmaldoon. I place my hope on the water in this little boat of the language, the way a body might put an infant in a basket of intertwined iris leaves, its underside proofed with bitumen and pitch, then set the whole thing down amidst the sedge and bullish brushes by the edge of a river, only to have it borne hither and thither, not knowing where it might end up, in the lap, perhaps, of some pharaoh's daughter. Ceis na teangan. Cuireann mo bhóchas ar snáth Madi Tangham, Famor Lagfon in on a give on. About fit of water, the little Gillogo Calistrum, a specimen of his pick, a chemical and a horn. And Sunday Lagashis in Masnan Yelka, is Kiggle the man she, the tear na hound. Fairhunt, not the rish, Cadorhigan Straha. Fairhunt, all the rish, and Borhig, in Eam, or rain. Tá rein dáanta gom bheith síime go rein dántach ní bheith ein síime go daine iad a heistrú agus rinte well deart an maisintá agus sné é ach am le déanaí tá dána gom dá banim airigéinin agus in reached Lane Cullinan Ashton Allin. I go one relay me and Bundan Gart as Grelin. I guess some better Dormish Ben Ashton. I regain in Mara McGrath is fair airing egg water leather coffee. So all Maka hair and order has the heave. The hill glory reform and then scunner a wine or tea. And some dinner each day is America go no fetchy, the fury he bunnig from a lehecha, and if he Kager Kalis in the store, now Doker or Kalis Bheal, is Kager more and Mavron, Maffel Tora, the Kyoto and Bheal. Eirig is criminal doing a baron gabach in the maid and top the lean the free stuff. Gwillen of a banner guineer in Simonier Crashawn, fellows from his fair, dog of Cosser. Yet the coggan the keer of the ray, Malfielach, when in his fine, like fishkint in the soul shade. Kega will lorry and bush dere, a fehevlo, as in day fishke, the wallach, big scar and yellow, so they. We're true ban face scarfan a serga a tortan trush, a tubber nebo and bashan the minarda. Ye taga of us on gaumas on mangan, in a corbigan goonly, in a goonly crimpling, they made on castle like lunasa. Are the in the vanis rereco a go around a corner, a Mirlan and Tuhe, Denur in near Denur. A gardo is a gishlimar for Dordan Beha no trinig, Canton killing a glasser, a leha oak and a snare was gold. Inish with Tohin Trasora and Aulo Hasna, Mikini Bui, a Garius and Bain, yet Trasna, Shu Trasna, Godoris and Camper GB, is let Twila Stripe or Kim or Chimu Fain or Gway. Will and a bullock stream is we on Jane. And here come our grapefruit core of the screen. Here growing in a jasog is Brazil shampoo laxine in a lot of clay, and the year him Marvenus, a Hawaiian, and Strigon Marine. I rigus cur the creamach in a misted, taban man es for work, squall and sleep. Yet trusting will be here, what was for her and Aaron, is stand a mockler, or a monte care in pay. The scammel no wasser man is grouse her a puss so stuffy leshtiger a corridor egg and gas. Kega messan our son the moor darlay and tinnis on the fayhook of varicose than when she ate the nose. Kamak the hard o skull and cream berry a small gore horrific. The quits but the correlly spellreader or Papaganish the hands the glossy gun lampo is their city Swiss from. Willig of Wassari Kale is Jenagari, is Kerrigan old war in the sleeping, a vamp, persuasiveness of swinge, some dorcas hammer, by aiming the cara, a canna, or dollar, or bar on the ground. Fiachik and van and east, as in Joan Mother Goroka, a ta following in the tinkle as clackashing Mishnaka's heel. You grab on the soul, she need custom range with a nail fit into a Dhomhnaill, is like fawn garter reveal. Kinch and garter, is far the main of far a well, is sticking the moor and deal on the arch on Nuala, de rud fóbeag, de scalar nach mire, mar ina se an féin, a bhaineann le marthain, mar háilta héin, iní. Nis, bhfuil suasagam nó lámagam nó.
Mas ní le donháin eile léh ní
Le me cheamháin le mar sin agus cum a déir me tá bíon well cum a bhíon mé arsúgam le meas méide ga dear me ceanna le Ileán. Dear me an tastracán a dús le John Montague is an tastracán. Island. Your nude body is an island sprawl on the ocean bed. How beautiful your limbs spread eagles under seagulls' wings. Spring wells your temples, depths of bloody honey crests. A cooling fountain you furnish, and a furious sweltering heat, and a healing drink from fevers. Your two eyes gleam like mountain lakes in a bright lama stage, and the sky sparkles in dark waters. Your eyelashes are reeds rustling along the fringes. And if I had a tiny boat to waft me towards you, boat of Findriny, not a stitch out of place from top to bottom, but a single plume of reddish brown to play me on board, to hoist the large white billowing sails, thrust the foaming seas, and come beside you, where you lie back, wistful, embowed as an island. Ileána se a carpa lán mar a móra, pádaigh agus spéite Rarlín léigeall agus Farrig Freeland. Typical fírisce iad de sí, tá íochtar cholathair is uachtar mela. Fuairdigh fórán do alarm a bheirehin is deach slánas víras. Páda go thuail mar lachas té, lábra lúnas in the radíon na spéir a glinnas na hiscí. Gelchas scúrbatha iad Harry a fás in a gúis. Is tá meach an bádín an teach be dhéin, bádín chundanna gan bá cete macarí na bun cete stacha é. A chéin cleteháin Jim Dara go déanana ceol den péin ar bord. Hogan Swiss na seolta bugabhána bugóidecha. Seágan trí Harrigaí lán, is thuchan cúd mar a léon tú uidna í a glas. Ileána. Sniúile go. Tá bránarm go tá brú follarm mar geabhar go raibh strócarm, well, sí strócarm de thrí bliana agus mar geabhar sin uaireanta titan na focail tagan an focail meach bonus ciún. Ach tá sé ceachtar an ábhaid.
Whereas Nuala díobh sé sin sa léir in éoncur.
Ó go maith.
It was a real honour and treat to listen to you tonight. So Gurmila Mahagat, the hauling our fad. And again, thank you to Julie Breathnach-Banwait, our other guest poet, all the ways from Australia. A Gallon Lay. I thought our shul tape here that in Shinastocha. So absolutely beautiful reading from both of you, Mila Boykas, and we hope to see you at O'Vale again, virtual or real. So thank you, Megan, to Mila Mahagut. So we'll move on. I'm sure there's probably some people are very eager to get sharing their own poems. So we'll move on to the open mic. If you want to sign up and read a poem on the open mic, hopefully you do. Please put the words open mic and your name into the chat box there. And you can read a poem. So we'll see how many names we have there. We should have plenty of time really. So I guess one poem, maybe two shortish poems because we have a bit of time, depending on how many people are on the open mic. So we'll just have a look there and see how many names are popping up. Okay, brilliant. So there's a good few names up here. So we keep it to one poem. I guess 'cause there's so many names here. This is fantastic. So Pam Campbell, you're the first name up. If you're ready to read a poem, that'd be great.
Okay. This is called Platypus Pairings. Dear Mr. Paul, I write you now as the sun draws its long shadows on Colgate prison walls. Least I think it's sunset, painted as it is in my memory. I don't have a window. None of us do. But even inside light changes when the sun sets. Mood shifts here too. Lonesome time sets in, an aching, lonesome time. A longing for your mama, for your daddy, and for your baby taken when your breasts were still full. That baby formed inside of me, kept me from a bedsheet hanging, my baby did. I made a promise to Platty, that's what I named him, you see. Not the name his dead daddy's granny gave him, weren't hers to name or have, or poison with wrong whisperings. Read to Platty every day I did, painted pictures with words to him from the pages of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Got his name when he kicked up something fierce when I colored him a picture of a platypus. He was twin to it, you see, in a swimming, solitary place, save for my beating heart. We beat a piece of life together in this windowless place. So you see, Mr. Paul, if you send me one of your platypuses, a baby one, I could conjure my baby boy once more with me. Our hearts beating time together again until I can get out and set things right between us. My Platty swam into this world with chestnut brown hair like me, just the color of that baby platypus on page 34 of your spring catalog. I added extra in my money order for special handling and express delivery. I am yours sincerely, inmate number 234, cell block D, Colgate Prison. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Absolutely lovely. Thank you. And lovely to hear the accent as well. Beautiful accent you don't get to hear much of over here. So thank you very much. Next up on the open mic is Breda. If you're ready, Breda, great. I'll just unmute you. Breda Spate.
Yeah, gotcha.
Brilliant, yeah.
Okay, the title of the poem that I'm going to read is Bacon. Bacon. I still see her fold in half, one leg ballerina raised for balance as she bows into the wooden barrel for next day's flitch of bacon. My brother wears his cowboy suit, black hat, leatherette waistcoat with fringes across his chest, his gun holster buckle the Lone Star. Meat steeps in a bowl of water overnight. Salt liquefies. Spume rises and floats while she sleeps in a house of thunder. Moths, furred bodies pattering the hoar red glow of the Sacred Heart lamp on the kitchen window. The Virginian's gun under his pillow. She slices bacon with her loneliness. The air marbled various auras of sad. Dawn, midnight, August. The long years of her love like starlight's colossal dying. John Wayne at the kitchen door. I'm the sheriff around here. Hands in the air and nobody gets hurt. Thank you.
Míle buíochas Brida for míle maithagad. An chéad duine eile ar an list atá Dhomhnaill Catty ní bhealúin, a charas, na bheantóir, Uile Catty.
Gurmaga Julie. I have a short poem here. It's in Irish. It means, the title of it means waves. It's about the rising and breaking of waves and the rhythm and sometimes the light that can be seen through them. And I think the freedom that they can suggest. So, Tanta, Irian, Bulgan, Brishan, Breathnach sa Rihan, Tanta ur Nuala ó Saolú ó Gailuint. Irian, Bulgan, Fanan, Mion Bheal lider an Volagus an Vrish, Ilani Erbish. Irian, Bulgan, Nochten, Tanian an Bhuir in a Súil Gorm Glas, a Rairk a Géru. Irian, Bulgan, Maiman, Gwynef Valon, Gachanál in a chapel, a Bhuing Squealte le Spree. Vermagib.
Who's that?
Míle buíochas Cathy, Bheal fad. An chéad duine eile ar an list ná Jeff. Jeff, are you happy, ready to read?
I'm right here.
Brilliant.
All right. So the one I'm going to do, this is kind of an alternative to traditional love poems because, you know, some of us, when we try to write sincere love poems, we come off as a bit creepy. So this is an alternative. This is about just liking somebody. It's called Like Poem. Some writers say words can't express their love. Well, I don't love you. I merely like you. And surely words are good enough for that. I like you. You're kind of neat to hang out with, but only in small doses, not a lot. You're a swell opponent for a game of Risk or Clue or Cards Against Humanity. I'd watch a movie with you. Nothing great. Not Casablanca or The Seventh Seal, but maybe that last Hobbit film, let's say. I'd never have sex with you, nor would I go on a long trip with you, because I'd get quite sick of you after a day or two, but we know it would never come to that. Shall I compare thee to a plate of macaroni and cheese? I like mac and cheese. It's a nice lunch snack. It'll do when you just don't have time to bake. If you eat too much, you may get indigestion or dysentery or maybe even worms. That's more or less how I feel about you. How do I like thee? Let me count the ways. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 2. That sounds about right. 2. Like me mildly, like me bland. Think I'm a-okay. Say hello and shake my hand and stay 6 feet away. Oh, my like is not a red, red rose, but more a short, stubby dandelion, which gets chopped in the mower on a Saturday morning. Oh, my like is like a melody, but not one by Mozart or Tchaikovsky, more like a 1980s pop hit, catchy and sweet, yet vastly disposable, like something by Mr. Mister or Paul Young or Level 42 or DeBarge or Wang Chung. What, you don't remember them? Exactly. When a man likes a person, things still sort of carry on. He might bum a smoke or maybe lend £5 to you, or euros rather. If you're bad, he'll tend to notice, and then he'll stop liking you, turn his back on you, and delete you from social media. Love means never having to say you're sorry, but like means never having to say I love you. Roses are red, violets are blue. AstroTurf is a worthy practical substitute for the real thing, and so are you. Now, actually, I don't like AstroTurf. And come to think of it, I don't like you. No, you're annoying and you smell bad too. Go away. Thank you, that was called Like Poem.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Very entertaining. Mahu, thank you. Next up, we have our 5-word challenge winner of the evening, our champion, Augustina. Are you there?
Yes, I don't know if the microphone is any better now.
Yeah, way better.
Brilliant. Okay. I hate that it's so relatable, the like poem. Oh my God. Okay, gather myself. Right. I don't know if I can call it a poem because it doesn't really rhyme, but then poems don't really have to rhyme anyway, right? So here we go. Trusting someone to pierce your skin or tattoo something permanent is anything but simple. Like the tension a pimple gets just as you try to squeeze it, a little bit of pain and pressure followed by relief. It makes sense to be apprehensive, I guess. Before I got my first tattoo, I had never exposed my body to anyone really. I mean, other than my doctor or parent or a sexual partner or abusers. Like most people anyway, you don't just go flashing your skin to random people, right? I wish I could describe the feeling when I first revealed my flesh to someone who I had no connection with, and trusting them to do what I asked, and trusting them that what I wanted was going to be, and knowing that whatever it was going to be permanent, no room for error. The discovery or acceptance and reclamation of my body is a massive part of it, but not only. I honestly thought I would stop at the first, but once I had done it, despite it being very small, as I got on my bus home that day, I already knew what I wanted next. I used to hate showing my arms. I never knew why or what I did not like about them, or if it was even about dislike. I was always a person who wore baggy clothes, long sleeves, polo necks, loose jeans, nothing ever too revealing, like I was afraid to be seen. A newfound confidence, I show off. I go off on ramblings about what they mean. After the third tattoo, I started wearing clothes that seemed to be a little bit more feminine than I'd go for, show my arms more than I'd aim for, walk a little bit more boldly and speak a little bit louder than I'd ever thought I could. I still don't know why all that is, but I'm reflecting and connecting dots one by one until I come to some sort of conclusion. But do I need to? I guess, does it really need to make sense? All I know is that it felt good. The acknowledgement of the body that may have been a source of insecurity previously, but it is not as much anymore. It's quite amusing, actually.
Thanks a million, Augustina. Thank you very much. And next up on the open mic is Ada.
Yeah. Hello again. Mine is a short poem. It's dedicated to coronavirus, of course, again, and cannot get it out of my head. And to the German language, which I'm trying to learn now. It's called Kein Gleichgewicht, without no balance. And it has a new made-up word, which is corona tide, or corona time, so to speak. Corona tide. You'll be all right. Wash off your fright. Your soul is night. Out of sight, the heavy plight of those who might or might not fight. Corona tide, to see the light. That's it. I just thought that would be cool to rhyme all with the night in it and then with side. And that's all.
Thank you, Ada.
Thank you.
Okay, and next up is Doc. Doc Janning, you ready to go?
I am ready. I apologize. Almost dropped you. This is the Hebrew month of Elul at this time, and it's a month of reflection heading into Rosh Hashanah and then Yom Kippur. Elul, a time of reflection. This time of the year, a time of reflection, a time of self-judgment, the beginning of healing and of moving forward. We review all our strangeness, our quirks and our flaws, the ways we've been toxic, hurtful, wrong. We search in our darkness for the wounds we have made, to ask then forgiveness that we might atone, seeking the gateway to love, to healing, to peace. Then we move forward with passion and grace to accept the new us, accept the blank slate, and in the quiet stillness of prayer and of self.
Beautiful. Bheal, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next
And
up.
I'm going to sign off. I have to be at a council meeting tonight to read poetry to them.
Enjoy. Thanks for joining us, Doc. See you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Next up on the open mic, we have Mr. Cullum Scully, all the way from Cork.
Hi, thanks, Julie. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a poem I wrote about 6 years ago, but it was it's set in a post-pandemic dystopia. So I said it was kind of relevant. So I'm going to read it tonight. So I hope I don't frighten anybody. They're looking for a lot of poems about COVID-19 at the moment in magazines and stuff. So I could always cheat and send this one off as a reflection on COVID-19. But here goes anyway. It's called 10 Tomorrows, number 8. After all humans have died. Empty wine barrels and an empty press. Soldiers' guns sitting in their slots. Cardboard boxes flapping in the wind. Cars parked neatly in the tree shade to keep them cool. School uniforms pressed and hanging await September. Coiled up hoses in garden sheds and fussily prepared dinners frozen in fridges. Guard dogs waiting to be unchained. The children's playgrounds remain empty. The wind catches a swing. The gentle creak of the chains can once again be heard by animals foraging in bins for the last of the processed food. Hedges grow messy and uncut. Gaudy yellow houses stand harmlessly in the States. Satellite dishes automatically move to find their signal, then become still once more. The vaccine factory has a half-completed order. Sitting in the warehouse yard, partly wrapped. The truck is waiting, its curtains drawn back. Gargoyles stare down from church buttresses into vacant courtyards. The posters for the pageant are made up. They sit in rows in the art director's office. The little chapel on the island is silent all year round. A family of pine martins nests in the bell tower. Cobwebs still gather in corners. The Bible on the pulpit is open at St. Paul. A new gravestone is half etched in memory of. The plastic rosettes remain bright and shiny, cleaned by the rain. The timber crucifix is dated but has fallen to one side. A leprechaun ponders by the headstone for a moment, then moves away. Flags fly in the cold night air. The temperature of the earth is beginning to stabilize.
Thank you, Colin. I'm going to, someone who needs to get on the open mic a little bit earlier is Mary O'Connell. So I'm going to ask Mary Maha to read. Mary, are you ready to read?
I am indeed, yes. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. This is a poem about Storm Ellen. Sublime and terrible, the autumnal gale begins to unleash its magnetic force. Untamed, it snarls through a gazebo carefully erected for a wedding feast. crack of canvas as volcanic surges try to rip its swollen underbelly. The awning rocks and dips, stretches, morphs, shrinks and warps under repeated gusts. Metallic tubes, pinioned at its corners high above the ample patio, become unfettered and begin to flail, tinkling wildly on surrounding glass. The householder flees into the maelstrom, her only thought to ground the canopy, prevent it taking flight beyond the thrashing dark. Stung by pelting rain, she wrestles furiously. No covering for her head or sodden feet, her nimble frame keeps darting in and out, trying to gather up the flimsy tubes, cradling each one as it becomes unmoored. Exhausted, she walks back to the house. A lightning flash illuminates her face, reveals her savage joy as she inhales the elemental energy that floods her being. That's it.
Thank you, Mary. Carmina Margaret. Thanks a million. Slán. Next up, we have Mags Creedon.
I have one verse in English of a writing prompt from Catherine Ronan and Autumn. Well, I can do 2 Irish verses for Bheal if there's time. That's 3 minutes, I'd say. Keep an eye on me, Julie. It's my Bheal anthem. Bheal gosul on atis on cure, bin or restore, bin chillan and more. Down Lucas our winter, im ask our shincher, Bheal gosul godo. Bheal bin riach, bin galach a nacht, Choraf jalsunach verlicht de Sondag. Is bravelo, de les de lo, Bheal gosul godo. Was mean to Borha, the leafy brew, leis an solas convent, contashtel on sail. Dridgles na fila, con de tia de Liana, is beg to Ixola gan Bheal. Bheal gan real, Bheal bin real, Bheal galach a nacht, Coraf jalsunach filiach de Sondag. Is bravelo, de les de lo, Bheal gosul godo. A little bit of English autumn, swirling down like an autumn leaf, an arabesque in the sky. Leave the branch and spin an arc down through the air and fly. We all need to find soft ground and rest in the autumn glow, and feel the sun reflect on us in a golden bronzy glow. But the rains may come and pour us down, and we may feel downtrodden and feeling battered down to the ground, battered and rain trodden. But the leaves can nourish and they nurture, earth embraces leaves, and soon their seed will grow to be a brand new sycamore tree. And autumn gold is treasure hidden there. Autumn gold, find promise in your fear. An autumn gold, time in seasons, each new thing. Autumn gold yields harvest for each spring, and I'm swirling down like an autumn leaf, an arabesque in the sky. Verse 1. Do you hear that okay?
The break is nice, wishing Bheal, Mahu. And
in A4 in autumn.
Yeah. Next up on the open mic is Kemi. Lovely to see you here, Kemi, and I'm looking forward to hearing your poem. So
Hi, sorry for being late. I chose one with a bit of Irish in it, but actually it's not the most positive poem, but there are lots of stories to be told, but this is one anyway. I don't read at all, so I think I've read a poem once or twice. I'm a bit nervous. It's called After Celt. So, European as well as African heritage, dark shade commonly taken for granted, but voice undulating like the River Lee. Soft brown eyes and foxy locks, the beauty of soil and sand exude. In a temperate climate, heat came to define you. Unrelenting temperature devastated protective exterior, the pressure forming cultural affinity. Once rejected by both communities, anomaly to all defining categories, yet simultaneously known as rebel seed and diaspora spawn. Legally always black, the pot larger, usually leaving the kettle to burn. Mother worried hard, warning and protecting. Anomaly was not excused that day, it was black that was accused. Your life did not matter, just the pride of the Garda. Mother sick and son foolhardy, son of the soil alliances overestimated. Justice blends better with the skin of fairer peers. Your face picked out of a large crowd, your body beaten and denied with a vow. I remember you singing Askelga, Bullabosh on Nullag, wielding that hurley with dignity, defeating their doubts, then strutting drill beats, meditating on London's knifed-up streets. Celtic warrior shanked out of your heart. Mother was laid up one day, filling toilet bowls from both ends. A cramping, empty stomach craved the warmth of a hot water bottle. Your flow responding, but overestimating the steadiness of an adolescent arm. Your chest, like your social status, was permanently scarred. The path of a second-degree burn would mold bubbling skin into the shape of a continent, a mark illustrating affinity, away from European conformity, skin scorched by injustice and kettle water, brands, the protective exterior forged into the shape of Africa, drawing home an anomaly, creating powerful cultural identity.
Beautiful.
Gur míle maith Kemi. Beautifully read and just beautiful. Gur míle maith. And next up on the open mic is Margaret O'Regan.
Thanks, Julie. This is called Aftermath. Smile when you think of us just now. Let it waft all around you, wrap you up in a cloud, caress you all over, ripple through you softly. Let it touch you, reach you, deeply move you. Then relive the contentment, the warmth and the comfort. File your feelings away, ready to retrieve from love's treasure trove.
Thank you. Margaret. Thank you. Next up is Sue Blue. You ready?
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good. I'm going to do a poem which recently had, like I had the chance of reading it over, kind of a bit of music for the first time, and it was a goodbye party, and very fittingly so, because this is what the poem is about. And it was a room full of people from everywhere else, except for maybe 2 Irish people, but everyone had come here from elsewhere. And I think everyone can relate to this. I'm going to read it in German first, and then in translation in English, if that's okay, because that's how it came out. Abschied. Abschied ist ein konstanter Zustand im Exil. Das Vermissen steht im Zentrum unseres Daseins, steht am Anfang und am Ende jeden Weges, jeder Reise. Und Freunde und Vertrautes erwarten uns an Start und Ziel. Ich vermisse meine Freunde, liebe Leute, die Familie, wo immer ich des Tages zieh. Und alle die, schon im Reich des Lichts auf der anderen Seite weilen, vermisse ich genauso schwer. Dasselbe Sehnen, nur permanent und mit etwas tieferer Pein. Der Schmerz des Abschieds ist beständig, ein dumpfes Zerren, latent vorhanden jeden Tag. Und wohin ich meinen Schritt auch wende, ich nehme ihn tief im Herzen mit und grüße alles Neue, das auf dem nächsten Pfad mich treffen mag. Und so ist Abschied auch Gewöhnung. Man kennt ihn gut, stumpft ab und kriegt ein dickes Fell. Und dennoch tut Vermissen ewig weh und geht unter die Haut. Und der zähe Sehnsuchtsschmerz hört niemals auf. So the English version now. Goodbyes. Goodbye in exile is a constant state of being. Missing lies at the heart of our existence, lies at the outset and the end of every journey, every way, with friends and the familiar awaiting us from start to finish. I miss my friends, my family, dear folk, wherever I go throughout my days, and those already residing on the other side in the realm of light, I miss equally deep, the longing just the same, only permanent and with a little deeper pain. The aching of leave-taking is consistent, a nagging strain, latently existent every day, and wherever I will turn my pace, I take it with me deep at heart, and greet the new that I might meet on my next path. And so farewell can be habituation, you know it well, becoming callous, growing a thick hide, and yet the missing hurts forever, goes beneath the skin, and the burning pain of longing never ends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue. Lovely to hear some German as well. Thanks a million. Next up on the open mic is Lauren O.
Oh, thank you. This poem was inspired by my dad and those harmless questions you get asked that sometimes can hit you a little hard. So it's called Dinner Date. The question familiar, you've heard it said. One wish to grant someone alive or dead to join at dinner, fanciful event. Once in a long life's chance to circumvent the law of time and rule of certainty, make real what's only imaginary. I never join out loud this party game, but inside answer is always the same. Could I choose anyone from anywhere, forever you, every time, everywhere, so we could be together once again, and I in motion put my crackpot plan. At starters, we conspire to set it straight, the plan I detail over our first plate, how we'll return to begin all afresh, not long to wait on first bite of last dish. We napkin sketch the system, start to end. We measure twice, cut once, no time to spend. Mistakes, no place among the mousse and cake, with nothing less than the whole works at stake. Main course arrives amid sawdust and steel. Beneath the table, plan becomes real. Matrix assembled with knives, forks, and spoons. case constructed from table legs and stools. The time machine's cooked. We soon will be gone. Back to the start to undo what's been done. We'll say all those things that need to be said, dig up the skeletons, put them to bed. I'll hide all the rope, I'll burn down the shed. I'll banish hurtful thoughts out of your head. Share unforgivably what I did not. Love's unconditional with no known top. I love you, need you, don't leave me alone. With each other, even death's challenge is none. So, when dessert comes, we need not a word. Now I just need one wish to save our whole world.
Thank you, Lauren. Give me the market. And next up on the open mic is Philip.
Hey everyone, I hope I'm coming through clearly, and yeah, so my internet's buzzing, but it's good to see everyone keeping sound and safe. So this poem is a friendship poem to someone, and she calls me P, which I really like. No one else calls me P, so I kind of like that. So her name also begins with P, so that's right back at her. So the poem is titled P. But it's also, I want to mention that this poem is also to another old colleague and friend who passed away this week, unfortunately. But I don't want the poem to be about death or passing on in a way. I just want it to be about moments and friendship and just being with people and appreciating people. So the poem is about that, but I thought it'd be nice to give my old passing colleague a poem for her, because she was funny and she was cool. So this is called P. I dreamt you were sitting like a moth, your face always in the way of the moon, your body bathed in silhouette and dust. It must have been by the shore because I heard the waves gush. In the dark, we found metaphors in the sands, found the algorithms in our conversations, going back out with the tide. And if we could speed up the ocean erosion by years, by centuries, by epochs, will we see the world cry out? Nah, before I woke up, I was back in your attic bedroom. You used a cog from a broken clock to crack open another beer. I was busy assembling a jigsaw puzzle of a boho elephant, both of us buzzing to Indian 80s disco synth. The difference being this time, I hid the last piece of the jigsaw so I would not wake up, so I would not need to go, so time not move onward. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Gurmila Malcolm, Philip. I'm just checking who's next there now on the list. I was distracted by Rob's comment about my matrix glasses. That's exactly the look I was going for, so thanks for noticing, Rob. Kay and Keith and Ella, no. Jeez, lads, you're mad for the messages. Kieran, is Kieran the next one on the list? Am I right?
I think I'm next, Julie.
Who's that?
Catherine Ronan.
Sorry, Catherine. Okay, I'll go back up and try and find you. Off you go, Catherine. Sorry about that.
I have to thank Sue Blue for this, for introducing me to the concept of gap poetry. So thanks, Sue. My poem is called Collars. I pour into your licorice mouth, love the taste. Our tongues turn black in confession, naked fields, white folds of sleep. You hum in my ear. We crawl towards dawn. Get dressed again.
Mila Boykas, Catherine. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Am I right in saying that Kieran is next? Kieran McCarthy? Yeah, away la, Kieran.
How's it going? Can y'all give me one of those if you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sweet, very nice. Yeah, thanks for all your words tonight. Nice to just join in for the open mic there. It's very nice to hear you. This is called On Encountering Elections. I thought that they said, hey, what do you want in what way? Which name in this booth will be for you a golden tooth and make shine what you lack? But just then, after my stroke of pen, they seemed to change their tack. Their speech was not their act. They smiled and turned their back. Despite what I said, in fact, and then they said some more words. But what about our sacred pact that makes you a Democrat and makes everybody see that this is democracy? And they said, look, I don't know why you sound so shook. You should know by now that when is the new how. I can only do what they allow. Who's they? I thought they was we. Didn't your last phrase start with, we are free to be? But there was no retort. Look, give her here your report. I'm sorry to be so short. I doubt that it'll make court, but we'll be in touch, I'm sure. I wanted to know when, because I didn't know back then. I didn't know back then that that's the game we were playing. Or that I need a trough for the pinch of salt needed taken to digest what you're saying. Or that something to vote for was too much to ask for. Or that the feeling now that I know doesn't impair me all that much more than the feeling did before. Until I said, no, you don't have to think of yourself so low. These people will come and go. Better to steer clear than make decisions out of fear. For they have as much chance as me of still being here when the event doesn't happen. What's your calling? Who's your captain? Thanks a lot.
Thanks a million, Kieran. You're really good.
Nice one.
Rosie, are you going to entertain us somehow?
I don't know. We'll see what we have here. It's, look, not quite prepared. Still a scroll on the page.
Looks very arty. Very arty.
Quite, yeah, well, it is actually. It's quite experimental. It's not going to make sense. And I don't really know what it is yet. So we'll see. And I'll dedicate it to my doc collaborators. So it's kind of inspired by some like improvised sound art and movement. So that's the kind of world we're in. Doesn't make sense. Just before she enters, a cracked shell falls in slow motion and the world whispers silence. All bubbles burst into this one. Belly drip split light to the floor. Splash iridescence. The child's hands eluded. His bow hops to no tune, scratches a note to breaking, slides and stops. Somewhere a door is open. Birds sweep in. Beakless twitter, chatter erupts. She walks the periphery, eyes wide. A hand twitches skyward. Heeking's whale song to not forget the ocean. Our bodies lose meaning to find some. She clatters her presence, bends to two dandelion seeds. Their entwined tumble over concrete, weightless. Eyes drop into eyes, see eyes listening. Yellow boots take her from one space to another. Walking is a game. The opaque white light of the windows, brighter where glass is missing, crack to fractured webs, sun spiders blistering. So many windows. In one, her head appears, disappears, the wind about her. These words wait. Wind rises. Wind is everything. It takes her to them and they follow, moving all together. He takes the door to darkness, haunts its hollows. The whale dives deeper. This ship is not a vessel. Her hull is his breath releasing, the play of her fingers amplified. This ship mourns the sea, creaks her depths, carries her shell shingle crash through sun-splintered glass. Thank you.
Míle buíochas, Rosie. Míle maith. Cedric, I believe you're going to read a poem for us. And can I just double check? I know Massimo, are you happy to read a poem as well on the open mic? Yeah, okay, that's very positive. Okay, brilliant. So we'll just take Cedric and then we'll move on to you then, okay? Brilliant. Thanks, Cedric.
Thank you very much. So I hope it's not too long. So it's anthracite. Out of the gate, walking and unconscious. Every aspect of his existence had been scrambled, shaken, tried. It was truer now. As his body emerged, something separated, stayed behind, forbidden to exist in this plane in which he belonged. Whatever it was him, and he had been it as he crossed, but now, incarnated again, only remained the hazy memory of absolute integrity. As his mind cleared, he started to remember the horrors, the ecstasy, hell, paradise, all within him and around. For a mere moment, he had been one with everything, with himself, melted by the forces of nature themselves and poured and dissolved into their flow. He had finally tasted and felt everything ad nauseum. What had happened to him in this travel? Nothing? Too much. Did he die? His helmet was constraining. With a reflex he had trained to obtain, he checked the oxygen levels of his environment on the HUD. It was a safe, white void, fading his suit's color, contrasting with his anthracite face. He had reached the end, transgressed time, both a pioneer and a sacrifice, trying to borrow or steal the wisdom missing to humanity and bring it back to his peers. Kay forced through the turmoil of his emotions with his single focus. The void sharpened until, in the distance, a table was finally discernible. And him was waiting, seated, moving around the pieces of a chessboard.
Thank you very much, Cedric. Lovely. You're míle maith. Next on, we move up to Massimo.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for having me back again. The friend I met on the session last time just told me it was happening. So sorry I came late, but glad to be here. So yeah. Rebirth, reveal light. My life's so surreal, it feels dreamlike. Meanwhile, my dreams are so real-like. Why wait for sleepy time, keeping our dreams alive? Why not just realize them, streaming them live? Finding keys in the dreams that we run with. Gaining healing by feeling through numbness. Asleep as a sheep with a number. Awake as the shepherd who lost count in slumber. I come with a message to come back to heaven before your ascension. Why wait for an ending just to see pain was the test and to love was the lesson? This life isn't perfect, but works if you work it. So work it, you're worth it. The world's like a lover with curves that you curve with. So love with a purpose. To love is our purpose. And learn how to laugh again. Happiness back again, like a long-lasting friend after much traveling. If half of our truth is imagining, then try to leave room in your facts to fit magic in. What happened in hindsight behind us like taillights that shine on our tail to remind us. We entwine with the times of our lives like a grapevine designed deep inside us for guidance. The self isn't finite, it's how you define it. The parts of yourself are like partners you ride with. Like partners, your darkness and light may unite to align as horizons where you rise and shine in. So decide when your dawn is. The time is upon us for progress and promise. You've held on for the longest, but if you don't love yourself, what's the point to all of this? So it's time for a rebirth. It's time for a rebirth. Your mistakes helped you rehearse. Now learn how to heal. Don't be too scared to be hurt. Can you remember how deep is your joy, even if you must reach through the deep of your void? Find a technique to keep peace through the noise as you channel through challenge. Keep balance, keep poise. But maybe it's not so simple. But then again, it's all so simple. We're just drops of water, yet we cause a ripple. Between I and I, all in the middle. The world lights our eye with the flame that we kindle, with gardens that grow from the tears that we sprinkle. In the eye of the universe, we're just a twinkle, but behind your smile, see space and time wrinkle, while you and I whirl like this world on a spindle. Still your smile lights this world more than a little. So it's time for a rebirth. Be reborn and realize your dreams to realize. Either that or lay down your dreams where the real lies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I could do with hearing that poem at least once a day, I'd say, Massimo. Gurmila Mahagut. Thank you very much. Fair play to you. Beautiful. Do we have anyone else in the open mic? Because that was a beautiful way to end a wonderful evening. Yeah, I think that's it. As in the open mic. I mean, people don't have to go now. I think I have a child still awake, so I might have to run. But what a beautiful evening, Gurmila Mahagut. Our two guest poets, Nuala ní Dhomhnaill, Julie Breathnach-Banwait, Gurmila Mahagut, Paul, for all the hard work you do behind the scenes. Gurmila Mahagut Fad, the open mic winner, or sorry, the 5-word challenge winner, Augustina. Congratulations again, well done. Lovely evening, Gurmila Mahagut. So I don't know what happens now. I presume everyone's unmuted and you can all have a chat, a sing song, whatever.
Thank you, Julie. You were great.
Thank
you. Nice session. Nice session.
Well done, everyone.